Did you know that Scotland and Wales, though very different cultures, share a legend of one of the most bizarre supernatural creatures in all the British Isles? In this video, you'll explore two manifestations of the same legend, including their similarities and differences, uncovering stories that have fascinated people for centuries. I'm speaking, of course, of what the Scots called an Fiar Liamor and what the Welsh referred to as the Brynn Lwyd. The Scots Gaelic translates as the Big Grey Man, and the Welsh as the Grey King. Their natures are shrouded in mystery and often challenge our understanding of reality, leaving us to question their origins and meanings. One difference in their respective legends is in their haunts. While the Grey King of Wales is often associated with the mountains of North Wales, it is not confined to them, and accounts can come from anywhere there is a mountain. The Grey Man of Ben Macdui, as you can tell from the name, is associated with one particular mountain, Ben Macdui in the Cairngorms, the second highest mountain in Britain. While no one knows how old the legend really is, oddly enough its first recorded mention was not until 1925, when a hiker named John Norman Colley recalled an earlier trip he had made to the summit of Ben Macdui in 1891. What he described, as he descended from the rock cairn at the summit, was the definite sound of footsteps following him. He would stop and listen and distinctly hear the crunch of one or two footfalls as whatever was following him also stopped. The mist was thick and he could never see anything, but whenever he moved, whatever followed him also moved. Finally, and overcome with terror, he fled down the mountain and vowed never to go back. While it's easy enough to speculate that his imagination got the best of him, we should note that the man in question was a professor and member of the Royal Geographical Society, not the sort given to flights of fancy, though obviously in this case, flights of panic. After Professor Colley broke the ice, other reports soon followed. A hiker named Hugh D. Welsh gave an account when he and his brother climbed Ben Macdui in 1904, and heard the same kind of echoing footsteps. In their case, however, the footsteps sounded different, like someone walking on watery gravel, distinct from their own. However, not all accounts spoke of phantom footsteps. Other people in and around Ben Macdui during World War II spoke of an overwhelming sense of presence, especially when the mist was rising. They simply knew beyond any doubt that they were not alone. One camper reported an inescapable feeling of dread which woke him up, and when he looked out of his tent he saw a very tall, shadowy figure silhouetted against the moon. That last account is one of the very few where the Grey Man was actually seen, though not the only one. Regardless, the Grey Man is generally believed to be not entirely corporeal, as if he is made of mist itself. Another instance when the Grey Man appeared seemed to back that up. In 1958, a hiker and naturalist named Alexander Tunian published an account of when he was hiking alone in the Cairngorms. In 1943, he had just summited Ben Macdui when a thick mist rose out of the mountain pass below and blanketed the mountain. He described the atmosphere as dark and oppressive with a bitter cold wind. Then he heard footsteps, and a large dark figure loomed up out of the mist, receded briefly, and then charged him. Tunian fired his pistol 3 times at the figure with no effect, after which he beat a hasty retreat off the mountain. Though the Grey Man of Ben Macdui has certainly done his share of frightening, there is no report of him actually harming anyone. Maybe he just wants them off his mountain. That cannot be said of the Brynn Lwyd of Wales. Sometimes called the monarch of the mists, in North Wales the Brynn Lwyd is seen as a powerful and dangerous but regal figure, sitting robed in mists and clouds. In the southern part of Wales he's seen more as a devourer, always on the hunt for victims. While it was ill-advised for anyone to be on the mountain after dark, it was especially dangerous for children, which the Brynn Lwyd was believed to prefer. As any victims of the Brynn Lwyd are said to disappear without a trace and are never seen again, it's hard to say what their actual fate might be. Here the legend gets a little complicated, because there is another legendary figure that is believed to haunt Welsh mountains, and that is Gwyn ap Nudd, the king of the Welsh fairies, the Tylwyth Teg or fair family. He's also associated with the Cwnanwn, the hounds of the underworld. Which begs the question, could the Bryn and Lwyd actually be a manifestation of Gwyn ap Nudd? It would explain a lot, even the Bryn and Lwyd's preference for children. One might assume they simply taste better if one's whole motive is to devour them. Yet no bones or other traces are ever found, so maybe that's not what's happening here. Fairies are traditionally believed to kidnap human children to raise and possibly to add to their numbers, so that tracks. Even the king of the fairies might not be above a little human child acquisition at opportunity. Then there is the matter of the name, Gwyn ap Nudd. It means Gwyn, son of Nudd, and one translation of Nudd is mist. Could be a coincidence, if one believed in coincidence, that is. Accounts in Carmarthenshire speak of a court of the mist rather than a solitary figure, which also speaks more to Gwyn ap Nudd than the solitary Bryn and Lwyd. Despite their outward similarities, the folklore surrounding the Grey Man of Ben Macdui and the Bryn and Lwyd are very different, no surprise, and both reflect each nation's rich folklore and cultural heritage. Even so, some would argue that there is a natural explanation for these mythic figures. Overactive imagination fueled by the eerie isolation of the setting, infrasound caused by wind creating feelings of unease and dread. Illusions such as the Brocken Spectre, a natural trick of the light sometimes seen in the mountains when the sun is at just the right angle. They're certainly plausible, or maybe that's just what the dwellers in the mist want us to think. What's your favorite Welsh or Scottish legend? Let me know in the comments and check out my other videos. I might have already covered it.